Hi guys, welcome to Nyonya Cooking. One of the most celebrated festivals by the Chinese community in Malaysia is the Dragon Boat Festival, or also known as Zhang Festival. The word Zhang comes from a Hokkien word which is a Chinese dialect, and that is from the word ba zhang, which means meat dumplings. Meat dumplings are widely known across Asia, and you can find various types of them. Even in Malaysia, on this special festival, you can find different types of meat dumplings. So today I'm going to show you a very special one from the Nyonya cuisine or the Peranakan cuisine, and that is the Nyonya Zhang. It is special because of the spices that we use in it. To how this festival came about, it is said that this festival is used to remember the sacrifice that is made by a Chinese poet who jumped into the river and drowned himself because he wanted to show that he was against corruption. So locals made these rice dumplings and threw them into the river so that fishes will not feed onto the body of this Chinese poet. So today, this is a legend, but I'm going to show you how to prepare your own Nyonya Zhang at home, and we are going to go through a very exciting list of ingredients. So let's begin now. The list of ingredients begins with the bamboo leaves. So these are the bamboo leaves that I got from the Asian market. They are dried, sold in a pack, and in the pack, along with the pack, it comes with the bamboo strings as well. If you don't find the bamboo strings in them, you can also get hemp strings as well. It works perfectly fine. And then what I have here is also pandan leaf, glutinous rice, some oil, fermented bean paste or tauchu, and some black pepper. Over here I have some minced mushroom, minced garlic, coriander powder, and some chicken breast. The next ingredient that I have here is to add some sweetness to our Nyonya Zhang, and this is the sweetened melon bar. So these are actually eaten just by itself as sweets, but over here I've chopped them up. It is known that it has medical benefits as well. The most exciting ingredient on the list is this butterfly pea flowers. So these flowers are known to give some coloring to the food that we cook, and it is very well known in the Nyonya cuisine as well. So I have these flowers dried, and they were sent to me by my parents because they plucked them fresh, dry them in the sun, and send it to me per mail. So I don't think so you can get it at the Asian market, unfortunately. If you don't have this, you have to skip it. Because these bamboo leaves are dried, we're going to soften them first. So what we have here is that I have a pan here filled with water. I'm going to boil the water and then soak these leaves into this pan of water. So this will soften the leaves, and we're going to leave it aside. After taking the bamboo leaves out of the pan, remember to rinse them really well. And now I'm going to just wipe it dry using a paper towel. And after this, do not forget to also put in the strings because they are slightly hard at the moment, and we are going to soften it by putting it into the pan. When softening the strings, all you want is to make sure that the strings are manageable, so it can be twirled because it will be used to tie the dumplings later on. And using a glad wrap, I'm going to cover this bowl, and we're going to leave this aside overnight. The next thing is to work with the chicken breast that we have here. So we're going to blanch this in a pot of hot water. You do not need to cook this chicken 100%. We're just going to blanch it and make sure that the outer layer is white, and then bring it out. By blanching the chicken, we are actually getting rid of the poultry smell that we get from the chicken. And besides that, it is easier when we want to mince the chicken. So do not worry that it is not fully cooked because we're going to fry it later on. So we're going to start by mincing the chicken over here. And we're going to leave it aside in this bowl here. We can finally begin to cook. So with a bit of oil, I have this pan heated up here. A very tiny bit of oil, bit of garlic, a few quick stirs, and this is when we're going to add the mushroom in. Once you smell that it's fragrant, it is time to scoop it out and put it into a little plate or a bowl. Once again, with a tiny bit of oil, or a little bit of garlic, and I'm going to put in this black pepper. Just give it a few quick stirs, and then once it's fragrant, we're going to bring it out again. Lastly, I'm going to add the rest of the garlic, Also remember to add a bit of oil if the pan is not oily. And then I'm going to add this fermented bean paste. So we're going to add the coriander powder, but before that add a bit of water to create a paste, and then we're going to pour it into the pan. Add the black pepper back into the pan together with the mushrooms and the minced meat. Also do not forget the sweetened melon bars. Add about half a tablespoon of water, less is more as usual. The only thing that you need to do now is just to saute this mixture to let the chicken cook, and then also add some salt to taste until the excess water is all dried out. But do not cook it too long because you don't want your meat to be fully dry. This is ready right now, and I'm going to scoop it into a bowl here. This smells really good. We're going to leave this aside, and this will be the filling for our dumplings. As for the glutinous rice, what are we going to do with it? So I have another bowl here, and all I'm going to do is to take 1/4 of this glutinous rice, and I'm going to soak it into the water that has this butterfly pea flour. So you can imagine some of it will be blue and some of it will be white. We are going to soak this glutinous rice overnight, and it must be soaked for at least 8 hours before we can use it. As for the rest of the glutinous rice, I'm just going to pour water into it, and we're going to soak it overnight. The only ingredient that I did not work with is the pandan leaf. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it tomorrow. Till now, we're taking a break. We're going to put everything aside and put this minced meat into the fridge as well. Do not forget that. So I'll see you tomorrow. Hi guys, this is day 2. So today we are going to wrap our dumplings. As to what I did with the string here is to just tie a knot and make sure there is a place for you to hook, and using an S hook, I'm just going to hook it here and look for something like a handle on the cabinet. So for example over here. So over here I have my glutinous rice ready, and this one is dyed in blue color. As for the pandan leaves, I've cut it into about 3 to 4 cm each, so we have a few, and these pandan leaves, you slip it into the dumplings so that it'll give extra fragrance to your dumplings. To wrap one dumpling, you'll need 2 pieces of bamboo leaves. So remember to pick 2 and have the part, the shiny part or the smooth part of the bamboo leaves facing you, and that is where our fillings will be in the bamboo leaves. Place them both overlapping each other, and then we're going to make a cone out of it. We'll now start with filling in the blue color glutinous rice. So what I like to do usually with the fillings is to just grab a bit and shape it, because these are minced meat, and if you do not shape it and you put it in, it will mix with the glutinous rice, and then you know it all fall apart. And then the white glutinous rice. And after that, just take a pandan leaf. As you can see, we have a very beautiful cone, and the pandan leaf is sticking out. So I'm just going to push this down, and then we're going to fold this close. Then take the tip and fold it either left or right, it's up to you. And now to tie, pick one string and then go over the dumpling. So try to tie it as tightly as possible. There you go, the first dumpling. So when you tie all of it, then you can put it into the pot of boiling water. We're going to boil it for about 2.5 hours to 3 hours. Now, the problem is there are many tragic stories whereby these dumplings might just open up during the boiling process, and that's it. So you can't pick the dumplings up, it cannot be eaten. So because you want to avoid that, we are not professional dumpling wrappers. What I like to do is to secure it with a different string. You can use a hamstring, of course, but what I'm just using here is just a normal red color string. Now I can be quite sure that these dumplings will not fall apart during the boiling process. So I have my dumplings here all wrapped. So while I was wrapping these dumplings, I bought some water here in the pot, and now that it's boiling, it's ready to go in. So we're going to boil this for about 2.5 hours to 3 hours. Leave it there, and as time passes by, if you feel that the water has gone down, you can always add boiling water to it. Do not add cold water because it will disturb the temperature of the boiling process, and that's what we do not want. So I'll see you guys in a while. Now it has been about 2.5 hours to 3 hours, so we're going to take it out. It's ready. We're going to leave it here so that the excess water will drip off, and then once it's slightly drier, we can start eating. So I give it another 15 to 30 minutes. So we just hang this out. Now I'm going to pick one, and we're going to cut it off here. So normally back home, my mom will do a big bunch, like 50 of these dumplings to give out to friends and family members. But now I have one to myself, and we're going to open it to see how it looks like inside. So you can see there's the shade of blue color at the top, and then below is the white color. If you want a darker shade of blue, add more flowers so you get a darker shade of blue. So now it's time to try this. So that was a mouthful. I just love the fillings of this dumpling. I told you earlier, Nyonya dumpling has this kind of taste, and it's because of the coriander powder. And that is why this is so special, and also because of the fermented bean paste. You can't really taste it that strongly, but instead there's a hint of it, and the sweetness from this melon bars is really one of its kind. It's not like when you use sugar, it's different. So try this recipe. If you love dumplings, this is one recipe that you should try. And once you have tried it, as usual, Instagram photos, please. I would love to see them, or even on Facebook, Twitter, or even Google+. And remember to subscribe to Nyonya Cooking. And as usual, I hope to see you in the next video. And happy cooking!